Hey everybody, Kim here with Little Biz Resources, and today let's jump into Etsy listings and the most important parts. So first of all, you can see that I'm in my currently turned off shop for EP Laser, and which I'll probably be turning on here pretty quick. But this is how you create a listing. You just go in, in fact, we'll go to listings once you're in your shop, and you just say add a new listing, and then there you are. Now, there's a couple things that I would recommend. One is that if you have the same type of product, you should set up a template and then just save it as a, sorry, I got my keywords everywhere thing here, and save it as a draft. Save it as a draft. So first thing you want to do is you want to add a photo. Now, photos are the most important part of your entire listing. Well, it's combined with another element, but this is, if you don't have a decent photo, people aren't going to click. And I know that from firsthand experience, right? And the types of pictures like from Amazon don't really work on Etsy as well. So the backgrounds removed or white backgrounds. You need to do something like lifestyle photos or something where the item is in its natural habitat or something that looks like its natural habitat. That helps to promote it. But at the same time, you want to make sure that it's zoomed in. So your photo, they're going to have different, if you say add a photo and then if you try to put something in there that's too big, which that's not going to be too big. But if you put something that's in there too big, it'll give you parameters. Now, I'm going to put in the description, I'll put the sizes that I recommend and that are recommended from Etsy that you can't seem to find anywhere, right? So that'll help you because we use it for automation. I'll be able to pull that out and I'll put that in the description. So videos are still technically optional, but according to Etsy, which we just have to take their word for it, that videos help sell. And so if your listing has a video, it's more likely to be shown to people. So that's what they claim, or at least that's what they're saying, is that people are clicking on it and everything else. I don't know the legitimacy of this. As far as I know, it will depend on niche to niche, right? So if you're in a specific niche, it may be better to have a video versus may not. You're going to have to test this. And it's only 5 to 15 seconds. And it says it could help you drive more sales. It may not, never know. All right, title. This is the other element that is the most important part of the listing. And that is because if you put in something too vague, too competitive, too something, you're going to run into problems. So if you don't have something specific enough, then you're going to have too much competition. You're not going to get found. That's what it comes down to. So if you put, let's say that you have gloves and you put gloves here and you're like, oh, well, I mean, look at Etsy, do Etsy, and we're going to put in gloves. And I don't know if it's going to show me, but this is just from Keywords Everywhere, right? 110,000 per month. So let's see if I can scroll down and see how many pages are showing up here. They're going to cap it, right? So they're going to cap it. So you can already see that there's going to be a lot of them here. It used to tell you way back in the day, it used to be able to tell you how many were showing up, but you've got all these different filters now. Now, this is important because when you do your listing, you're going to understand a little bit better why some of these elements are important. But you've got estimated arrival time, that's newer. These are all the different filters you can have. They have ones with free shipping, ones that are on sale, personalizable, etc. So Etsy has a thing where if you offer free shipping, even if it's on $35 and above, that they're going to prioritize your listing over supposedly others. That's not a 100% prioritization, right? So everything Etsy tells you, you need to take with a grain of salt. That's just ultimately what it comes down to. And you're going to have to test. So your title, you need to put in a keyword. And if you're selling gloves, you need to be specific about it. If they're black leather gloves, put black leather gloves, right? If they're rainbow cotton gloves, rainbow cotton gloves. Make sure you put those words in there. And then, of course, you should probably use a tool to help fine tune that. Right? This is an area that you want to look for opportunity. And if you can't think of opportunity, my sister is really, really good at this. Whereas I suck and I need tools. So you might want to use something like eRank or Marmalade. Those are both the two that are for Etsy specific ones. Then who made it, right? So if it's handmade, then it's going to be I did. If it's handmade and if it's still handmade, because it needs to be handmade, right? A member of my shop. Otherwise, you can do another company or person. Now, if you're doing print on demand, it would be another company or person. And then they're going to say, what is it? And it's going to be either a finished product or a supplier tool to make things. So now, so I have a store that sells that I don't hand make it, but it's a supply, right? So that's where another company and a supply would be fine. Then if it's a finished product, but another person made it, then you can say, when was it made? And it would be made to order. I'm losing my mouse for some reason. Okay, so this item is handmade with production assistance, right? And we'll talk about that. So we're going to do the print on demand one just because that's what we've been talking about. So let's say that we're going to do rainbow explosion. Well, see, this is going to be leggings. Now this is where, oh my gosh, I can't type. This is where you want to make sure that you get all the keywords possible, right? So leggings, and there might be alternate terms for them. It could be pants, so tight pants or something like that. I don't know. You'd have to do the keyword research to find out. So this one would be category. So now this is going to be a handmade with production assistance, okay? Because you can't make something that's not handmade. I wonder where vintage would work. Anyway, so we won't talk about vintage, but in this case, it's going to be leggings. So I'm going to type in leggings, and let's say this one says leggings and leggings women's clothing. Right now, you need to pay attention because some of them are going to be, here's unisex kids clothing. This is how people narrow down, right? So if you aren't listed in the right category, let's say that you are in pants, right? You're in unisex kids clothing, unisex baby clothing, pants, right? Then you're going to have a tough time getting in front of it. So if it's women's clothing, and you need to put it in women's. So then they have some suggestions on things here. So they'll be in clothing, women's clothing, and leggings. And this one says they want you to choose a scale. This may this is optional, but this is also how people may narrow it down, right? If they want a certain size, and if you don't offer it, then they're not going to make that purchase. So you might want to do this where you do women's numeric and then type in the size, and then you'd have different sizes, but that's kind of, you're just gonna have to see. So let's see if I can start over. This is one, I don't know why their variations do that. So again, we'll go back to the category here, and we're going to go, it's funny, common categories, ornaments on this one. Yeah, so ornaments. And you can see, so clothing you saw. Let's actually go back into that leggings, because this is going to make a difference in what you see. So we saw this one, and you can see that choose a scale, primary color, secondary color, clothing style, pattern, waist rise, leg length, occasion, holiday. So some of these are going to be commonly across it, and you can put it in sections in your store, which we'll talk about in a minute. But if you change this and you go to something like ornaments, right? So we're going to say ornaments, you can see that it's going to change, right? I don't have some of the options, and I have height, width, depth, right? So these are all things that you're like, oh, okay, each time you do one of these, there's going to be different ones. And the ones that are optional, right? If they're optional and they don't apply, don't play with it, okay? So let's do what, jewelry. That was another one. Jewelry's got a lot of different ones in it. So we're going to do, let's do dangle and drop earrings. And so this one, recipient, pick up to 5, location is optional. So it's optional. You can see examples of that though. Material, the different material that it's in it, you can select up to 5. If it's recycled, it says choose yes only if your item contains materials recovered or diverted from the waste stream during the manufacturing process or after consumer use. Okay, so I would not select no, right? I would just skip it. If it's optional and it doesn't apply, don't select no, just select yes if it applies, or skip it if it doesn't. Gemstone, don't, if there's an NA or something like that, if it doesn't apply, just skip it, right? And then that way you can go through and answer the things that apply, but skip the ones that don't if they're optional, right? And most of this is optional, and that's because if you put a no in it, it somehow penalizes you for some reason. So now we're getting down into renewal options. Just as an FYI, I do not do automatic renewal. And the reason why is because I want to see when it's been 4 months and it gets renewed because it hasn't sold. So that way I can look at it and say, what do I need to do to these items that haven't sold? Right? So I'll do manual and then renew it myself. However, there is a rumor, and I don't know how true it is, that if you do not use automatic renewal, that you get penalized. I don't know if that's true or not. I just know that there's a lot of people who claim that if their automatic stuff seems to get better attention than if it's manual. Now, the other thing you can do is if you're using something like let's see, Etsy on sale. Etsy on sale is a nice resource. I'll put a link to that as well. You can run sales with it, but you can also set it up to renew whenever you want. Because supposedly when you renew, and this is per Etsy, when you renew, you get a little bit boost in the listing. So if it hasn't sold in 2 months, you're probably not getting found anyway, right? So you're like, might as well renew it at 2 months instead of 4 months, but that's kind of up to you. So then if it's physical or digital, and then their description, your description does not matter to Etsy, right? It matters to Google because Google does care about the entire page, but it does not matter to Etsy. So you can put whatever you want here, and whatever you put here, you need to put for the customer in mind, right? The customer in mind, because honestly, you're going to want to give them the information they need to make the purchase. They're not going to see much, if at all. In fact, I think if you're on mobile, you don't see the description at all. You have to hit a button, or sometimes you can see it and you still have to hit a button to get past the first sentence. So if there's something really important, like if you know that people keep buying it and they're saying, hey, this is, why am I not getting a physical item and it's a digital item? You could put, this is a digital product as your first part, right? Now, some people say, oh, put your keyword in there first or whatever. I don't think it matters because Google doesn't care if it's there. You know, it says preview listing as a Google search result, but Google doesn't really care if it's right there. You can put it down a little bit, or the next line, if you are worried about that. Otherwise, then just put whatever's the most important element right here for the buyer, because Etsy doesn't care. Etsy's not going to search your description for anything. Now, here's where you would add a production partner if you're doing print on demand, right? So this is where you can add a new production partner. You can say, you don't have to show the name, so you can just turn it off. So you can put the name here and then put a description here. So the production partner, they still kind of need to know who it is. So in this case, let's say it was Printful. We'll put Printful. And then the title would be a print shop or whatever, and the location. Now, location is tough because some people are like, I'm going to put my location. That's fine. And there's multiple locations for Printful, so it's hard to say exactly. But it's kind of here or there. I would say wherever it's shipping from. Because if most of the stuff ships from California, make sure it says the city and the state, because it's going to help everything it's going to help the algorithm know where it's coming from, right? So then about the production partner, you can say what they do for you, and then about your partnership, what you're doing. So I'm going to cancel that. Now, sections are one. So like I have different sections in my store right now, and that's because I offer a wide variety of things, right? So I have clocks and earrings and ornaments. And then I put dog breed ornaments. So that's still ornaments, and you can't put them in both. So eventually I would take this one away. But what was happening was I started off with dog breed ornaments, and then I was like, ooh, I have other ones. But I don't want to call them Christmas ornaments because, I mean, they're more than Christmas, right? So I just put them as ornaments. But I had so many that were dog breed ornaments, I put those specifically in their own section. Now you can have quite a few sections. In fact, I think you can have, I can't remember how many. I think it's like 11 or 12 sections or something that you can have, and they keep changing that. So you'll have to just play with it whenever you're watching this. Now, tags, even though it says optional, so section is optional, and honestly, this is just if somebody comes to the front of your shop or if you want to promote the sections. If you have a lot of products, sections are good. If you don't have a lot of products, you can skip sections. Or if you have like all leggings and no specific themes for them to go to, don't worry about it. Sections doesn't seem to help or hurt your shop. It just seems to be there as another way to sort for people. So tags, on the other hand, these are important. So when you run ads, and I got this straight from Etsy. Okay, I got this straight from Etsy. When you run ads on Etsy, which is just so simplistic now, they're going to pull. They don't let you pick. Oh, you don't get to optimize like you do on Amazon. You have to put the words in that you want to rank or you want to be found for in your tags and your title. If they're not in your tags and your title, you're not going to get shown in ads. And if they are in your tags or your title, you can still get shown for ads. So if you put the word the in there, the magic gloves, the leggings, right? The word the is in your title or your tag somewhere, you're going to get shown for any time somebody types in the word the. And that's not effective, right? So if you're going to run ads, you got to keep that in mind. And if you're not going to run ads, you got to keep in mind that this is how it knows how to show what it is, right? So this is what words might someone use to search for your listings, right? So this is where we go back to the title. You only have so many characters you can put in there. If you have more words, which you should, and you should try to get all 13 tags. They do have a limit on it. I can't remember. what it is. So no more than 20 characters. Okay, so 20 characters, you want to make it each, and you can be phrases, right? It doesn't have to be a specific word. You could say women's leggings, men's leggings. You want to spell it right. Children's leggings, stuff like that. You know, you'd want to put in the ones that are there, but you want to go as deep as possible. So whatever it's going to be. So if you have apples on it, you want to make sure apple is in there, right? And we've tested this a couple of different ways where it's general. Like some people put, well, you don't want to put leggings in there if you have leggings in the title. You don't if you have enough keywords in your tags. But if you don't have enough to get, and again, this is where I say I recommend using tools. You can even use keywords everywhere if you want to help just figure out some of the other words. You can use Google Analytics or Google, the keyword planner. You can use any of those to help you get more tags. But ultimately, the tools like Marmalade and eRank are the ones that are Etsy specific. So those are the ones that I would recommend. Now, materials are optional, and honestly, I've used this, and I can't tell that anybody's finding anything from it. So I'm not going to say, yeah, this is something you need to make sure you put in there. I tend to do is put whatever it is. If it's made out of polyester or something, I'll put that there just so that they know. And then, and of course ours is made out of wood, right? So recycled wood. So I'll put recycled wood there so they know that's what it is. Then your price. Of course, we're not going to talk about how to price here, but this is where you put the price of your product, your full price. If you're going to do a sale, then the price will be reduced. You can do a sale here or you can do it Etsy on sale or both. And that's actually a strategy we'll talk about another time. Then the quantity. If you are doing print on demand, you probably want to put this up at like 100 or something. You're going to get 20-cent listing fee for each time that it's renewed. So when somebody buys, if you have a number of 100 here, it'll go down to 99. It'll renew the listing. Now, if you're like, hey, I only have one item, you put one here, right? You put one, and then when it sells, it's sold out. So that's the difference between, you know, this is why you want to put a quantity there if you have a quantity, because otherwise it could sit until you renew it or until you go back in and say, hey, there's a quantity and I'm going to renew the listing. Now, SKUs are only for your use. So if you have a SKU that you use internally, you can do that. I tried to do this with like inventory control, where I would use this a SKU. I would put like a unique number for the item. And then I would put the location where it was, because I have like a bunch of stuff that I have to look through, right? And so I'm like, okay, it's in bin whatever on shelf 3. And so then I would be able to know that that's where it was. The problem is that it prints out, if you use this, it does not print out on the customer copy. It prints out on your copy, which is great, except that I don't want to print out 2 copies. I only want to print out one to save paper and send that to the customer. So I don't print out my version. And so that wasn't as helpful as I thought it would be. Now, if you have variations, you have different variations built in here, but you can do pretty much any variation you want. So where you can say create a new variation. So if you're like, hey, I have a different variation, you can do that. But they have, you know, gemstone, primary color, length, drop length. You know, they've got all of these that are not set in stone. Like if you use length, you can say, you can choose a unit, centimeters, inches, or millimeters. So let's just say prices. Well, let's not do this because we know the variations get all messed up. So you can play with that and figure out if variations work for you. I will tell you that if you plan on integrating with anything, Etsy's API for variations is a nightmare, right? So variations are great. And this is how we recommend if you're like, hey, I'm trying to figure out a way to minimize my listing fees. That's what you can do is you can add in variations and have multiple products on one listing. But that minimizes your options for getting found in the search engine. So it's kind of like a catch-22. So for me, variations would be like let's go back to ornaments for a second. I have multiple Celtic ornaments, lots of Celtic ornaments, but nobody's going to search for Celtic ornaments. And you know, the search terms for any other variation are so minimal. Even Celtic ornaments is small. So I might, you know, if I wanted to do, and of course my variations are going to go in my tags, or my alternate terms are going to go to my tags. So my variations are going to be the different styles. It's going to be style 1, style 2, style 3, or heart style, triangle style, whatever I decide, right? So that's going to be my variations. Now, if you offer personalization and you need to collect information for that, you need to turn this on, and then you can put the instructions and everything here. Shipping. Now, again, this is where my shop offers a free shipping guarantee. I don't know if I can open that. But if you don't offer a free shipping guarantee, which means, and a free shipping guarantee is free shipping over $35. Like mine is $0. I don't charge shipping anyway. It's part of my costs. So you can do that and have a free shipping option. In fact, they now have that, which they didn't have before. I have to play with this because this is the new one. So this is shipping 0 fixed prices domestic. So you'll just have to check these and see what works. So you can see Printful's already brought some in here. We had it connected at one point, and they have theirs that are fixed prices. So if you're going to offer a free shipping guarantee over $35, you got to remember that for your pricing, right? So if they have a fixed price of $2.99 for domestic, which I think these prices have all changed, so I might have to go in there and reconnect it if I wanted to. But yeah, so they have, this one's a free US and international calculated, right? So you could come in here, you could edit it, and you could say, mine says United States only. Right, so you have to put in your origin zip code, processing time, how long it takes, and this is their one that's their free. It's a free version that I put in here. So you may need to come in here and do custom options. You can come in here, all fixed prices. They used to have, like I said, this may be because mine is an older store and has a bunch of options in here, but that free shipping one is mine. I did this. Right, this is mine that I edited already. So it only is domestic. So you'll have to go in when it's fresh to see, because I don't have a fresh account. But this is for customs information. I don't do stuff overseas right now because it's a nightmare with taxing. So this is there you go. The tariff number is a code used to describe imported taxable items at customs. So you'd have to know, you have to be able to put that information in order to be able to have it automated. Then your item weight, this is for your shipping, your calculated shipping, and item size as well. So if you don't do that, you can't use calculated shipping. It's going to force you to do that. And then, of course, this is going to United States. So that's your shipping profile. You can publish it. You can save it as a draft. You can preview it. We obviously haven't put anything in here, so it won't let us preview or save as draft or publish. If you want to save it as a draft, you have to have, I believe, at least the picture in there and something in the title. But it'll tell you when it won't save it. I know if without a picture, it won't save it. And without a title, I don't think it's been able to save. So those are the bare minimum to be able to save as a draft. So that is a very, Kim talked fast as possible to get you through this, to be able to understand the listing and how to get it going. So if you have questions, pop them in below, hop into the Facebook group. Come live on Thursdays and ask questions if you want to ask live. I've put links to relevant resources. If you don't have an Etsy shop, you can get 40 free listings from us through going through our link, not from us, from Etsy, going through our link. And, you know, that's the basics of it. You just got to go in, you got to do it, and then you got to start collecting data. That's really what it comes down to. So hopefully this helped you get started on your listings if you haven't started already. And if you have started and you run into problems, just reach out to us. You know, you can post the questions here. You can put the questions in the Facebook group, or you can come live on YouTube and ask questions every Thursday. Thank you. And if you liked this, and you can hit the like button and help it spread to other people so they can see how to do their listings as well. And we'll dive more into the different software and how to use that later on. Thanks.